Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Mark Parham. I'm an entrepreneur and property investor, and in this video we're going to be discussing how many properties you would need to create financial freedom for yourself. But before we get into the video and before we go through all the data, I just want to extend the offer that I made last time, which is until I get to 1,000 subscribers, if anybody wants a one-to-one consultation, please have a look in the description. There's a web address in there, fill out a short form and me and you can have a quick one-to-one chat. I've done over 30, I've loved every single one of them, so thank you so much for that. And if you're enjoying the content that I'm providing, please like and subscribe to this video. I'm going to produce content every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, and I would hate for you to miss out on any of them, so please hit the bell notification as well. So let's get into the video. I've done quite a lot of research into this for you. Now the first thing to bear in mind is that the UK average salary is around about £30,000. Now this varies based on age, region and gender, but 30,000 is a worthy goal for us to look at as an average UK salary. Now, if you're earning less than 30,000, I don't want you to think that you're below average. London props this up massively. And beyond this, there's massive variances in age. Let's have a quick look. So if we draw a quick graph and we put your age along here and your earnings up here, well, actually between 0 and 16, you've got very little earning potential. But as you start to work and you start to get more skills and you start to get more experience, your earning ability increases. Now, this is what we call compound interest, and people normally think of compound interest in financial terms, but it's also in skills and experience that make you more valuable to the marketplace. Anyway, let's get back to the task in hand, which is making you financially free. So if we're going to look at 30,000 as an average UK salary and 2,500 per calendar month is going to be the monthly target that we're going to try and achieve. Now the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to look at property. So with property, there's three main strategies that we can easily work out here. And the first one would be HMOs. Second one will be buy-to-lets, and the third one will be serviced accommodation. Now they all come with their risks and they all come with their benefits. So let me just describe what those are for you. Now HMOs, if you don't know, it's where you take a property, you divide it into rooms and you sublet each room individually to an individual tenancy agreement. This means that if you took a 3-bedroom property, put a bed in the lounge, you can turn it into a 4-bed mini HMO. Now as long as it's not got Article 4, and there will be other videos on more specific things. On this I really want to stick to the numbers rather than the technicalities. But the HMO is that premise. Now, I'm going to work on the basis, just for simplicity, that we're taking a 3-bed and turning it into a 4-bed, and that the property is going to be based on some of the properties that I have. And that will allow me to create the figures very easily. Now, I understand there are lots of areas of the UK, and there are lots of different variables that can be brought into this. But we need to take an area and work from there. So I'm going to take Sheffield because I've got 3 properties myself there, and as a group of investors we have about 10. So I know the area quite well, I know the areas I can invest in, I know the rents that I'm going to achieve in each of these sort of categories. So first of all we'll start with HMOs. I'm going to buy for 100 to 120k, and that's across the board in all 3 categories. With a HMO I'm going to achieve approximately £1,600 a month rent gross, and net of all the bills and everything else, it'll be about £800 on a 100 to 120,000 pound property. So on a buy-to-let, I'm only going to achieve 700 to 800 at the very top on a gross basis, which means net of mortgage, management, all the rest, it's probably only about 450. And serviced accommodation, at the moment, it's very hard for me to give you a figure. We're still in the midst of a pandemic. I've only actually got 1 unit that we're currently using as serviced accommodation because there's just not that much demand at the moment. So I would say on an average month, they tend to perform a little bit better than HMOs, but there's obviously more management and everything else. So we'll say £1,000 per calendar month on average, not in the middle of a global pandemic. And let's assume there's not going to be a global pandemic forever. So this makes our maths fairly easy, doesn't it? If we say 800 into 2,400 would be 3. So if you let me off £100, I can get you financially 3 properties. On a buy-to-let basis, well, we're going to need, again, if you let me off a couple of £100, we're only going to need 5. If you're not going to let me off, then we're going to need 6. And again, if you're not going to let me off over here, we're going to need 4. And service accommodation, well, we are going to need 3 really. So it's fairly clear that the more that you can generate from your asset, the quicker you'll be financially free on a cash flow basis. Now, the way that this actually works is, I want you to imagine that a buy-to-let is probably the simplest and easiest thing to manage. You put a family in it, they tend to last a long time, and it's got very little voids, very little management. It tends to be the most straightforward strategy. A HMO is slightly more management because you've now got 4 tenants. It's slightly more maintenance because you've got 4 people using all the things, so you get slightly more rent. I mean, this is how capitalism works. And then service accommodation is the next level up. It's even more management because you've got to provide soap, shampoo, cleaner very, very regularly at the end of every tenancy, if you like, or stay. So as you do more, you achieve more. So I would be very much looking at this and going, okay, well, how passive do I want this? So the last thing for us to consider is how much it's going to all cost us. So for a HMO and service accommodation, they're treated fairly similarly because you have to put all the furniture in yourself. The deposits are going to be 25,000, the stamp duty and legal fees 5, the furniture 5, which means a total of 35,000 in per property, and that gives us a total for the 3 of 105. Now for buy-to-lets, we're going to need more properties, but they're going to cost us less because we don't need to furnish them. So deposits 25,000, the stamp duty and legals will be 5, and now it's 30,000. Even so, we're going to have to put in £150,000 rather than the 105 if we were using something that gave us a better return on investment. That said, we do own 5 properties worth £500,000 with buy-to-lets using this strategy, whereas we only own 3 up here, and if we were to spend the same amount of money, we would easily be able to add a 4th. So look, they're not completely fair examples, but it gives you an idea of how many properties you're going to need for financial freedom. So for an average person, it's 3 HMOs, and for buy-to-lets, it's going to be 5. For me, I would take the easiest route, which for me is HMOs. I think that gives you the best balance between yield and return on investment. But everybody's an individual. What do you think? What would you do? If I put £150,000 in your bank account today, would you buy 5 buy-to-lets or would you buy 4 HMOs? Let me know in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope it's given you some real insight. I've been Mark Parham. I release a video every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. So please subscribe and give this video a like, and we'll see you soon.